Hello everyone, welcome back again to this channel. Thank you so much for joining me in this live section. So let us actually go move into what we really have for today. So guys, the at this stage, Justice Omotosho should not even Justice Omotosho cannot pretend not to know. He is fully aware. He is fully aware that he is fully aware of the rising international pressure that is no longer just from activists, but from international bodies directly, targeting Nigerian politicians and judges over corruption and abuse of office. So, guys, if you know you're actually new to this channel, please do well, to click the subscribe button. And if you know you're doing anything at the moment, just leave it and come and listen to what I have to say. And after everything, you can go back to what you're doing. So let's keep this thing going on. So at this stage now, Justice Omotosho cannot pretend not to know. He is fully aware of the rising international pressure that is no longer just from activists, but from international bodies directly targeting Nigerian politicians and judges over corruption and abuse of power. Reports from HEDA have already exposed the truth. 70 to 80% of Nigerian judges have collected bribes, and over 90% of court cases suffer from interference. To make matters worse, between 60 and 70% of all court interactions involve bribery, bias, or undue influence. And sadly, this rot has already crept into Omotosho's own court. He has opened the doors to outside voices, forgetting that nothing is hidden from international bodies. Today, as the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Omotosho is already on the international watch list. This means any move he makes, any judgment he gives, is being monitored closely. If he dares to step in the wrong direction, there may be an international arrest warrant waiting for him, heavy sanctions, and possibly even international prison time. So for this video, we are giving Omotosho a lifeline, a final chance. Here are the three things he must do on the 10th of October 2025 to wash his hands clean and escape sanctions. Now, the number one thing that Omotosho should do to avoid sanctions and to wash his hands of all these things and to escape all sanctions, number one, the first thing you should do is no more postponement. No more postponement of Nnamdi Kanu's case. Justice Omotosho, enough of the endless adjournment. As you know, justice delayed is justice denied. Nnamdi Kanu has not been declared a prisoner by any court, yet you keep dragging the case from one date to another. What if, after all those delays, you finally declare him innocent? Why then all the courts? Why all the prisons? Why waste years of a man's life on technicalities and politics? The world is watching. If you want to prove your stand for justice, then number one is clear. No more postponement. Face the case and deliver justice now. These are the things that Justice Omotosho should do if he really wants to, wash his hands of sanctions. Number two thing, the second thing that Justice James Omotosho should do is distance himself from political interference. Justice Omotosho, stop listening to politicians and power brokers from Abuja to the villa. Everyone knows the kind of pressure you face, but as a judge, you swore to uphold justice, not to serve as a puppet. Every time you allow outside voices into your courtroom, you stain your robe, and the international community is tracking it all. Every influence, every call, every delay. Cut off the political strings, because if the world confirms that you bent justice for politicians, it will not only haunt your career, but could also bring sanctions, travel bans, and even international work prosecution. So number two is clear. Distance yourself from political interference and let justice speak for yourself. Let justice speak for itself. Distance yourself from political interference. Avoid postponement. These are all the things we're asking you to do, Justice James Omotosho, if you really want to avoid sanctions. Number three thing Justice Omotosho should do is to deliver a judgment that honors both the Constitution and the human rights. This is the final and the most This is the most final and the most important step. Your ruling on October 10th must not be written for politicians. It must stand firmly on the Nigerian Constitution and on international human rights law. The world already knows Kanu's detention has been riddled with irregularities and political manipulation. The case is now a global test of Nigerian judiciary. If you bend again, you prove critics right that Nigerian courts are trading grounds. But if you deliver a ruling rooted in truth, fairness, and justice, you will clear your name from the watch list and write your name in history. So number three is clear. Deliver a ruling that honors justice both at home and abroad. Anything less, and the consequences will follow you beyond Nigerian borders. Now, my people, October 10th is a day of destiny for Justice Omotosho. I only hope his decisions do not come back to haunt him, haunt his career, and haunt his generations to come. Because if he mishandles this case, the world will not hesitate to put him under sanctions or even behind bars in an international prison. So whatever you're doing right now, I want you guys, and I advise you to stop and focus fully on this video because you do not want to miss a single bit of what is coming next. And if you're new here, don't just forget to click the subscribe button and make sure you click the bell icon and select all notifications so that you are alerted immediately I drop a new video in this channel. So guys, we've been talking about, let's go on. We'll be talking about what Justice James Omotosho should do if he really wants to avoid sanctions. Because October 10, 2025 is going to determine the kind of person he is. And if he does not make a good decision, it's going to haunt him forever. Now, according to surveys I shared with you, between 70 to 80% of judges have collected bribes, and more than 90% of cases suffer from what interference. This is not just statistics, it is proof that justice in Nigeria has been captured. And now the world is saying enough is enough. Remember, once you are on the international watch list, you are not free anymore. Every bank account, every international travel, every financial record is flagged. So Justice Omotosho is on the international watch list. They are watching everything he's do, and as the fact that he's in it, and for the fact that he's now being watched, all eyes are not on him. You find out that he will no more be free anymore. Every bank account, every international travel, every financial record is now flagged, and Omotosho, as the chief judge of the Federal High Court, is right at the center of the storm. So this is bigger than Abuja. This is bigger than Nigerian politics. The world is watching his every move. Now, let's talk about postponement. Kanu's case has been dragged for years. Each adjournment has been like a slap to the face of justice. But here is the danger. The world is interpreting these delays as deliberate sabotage. And when the world interprets your action as sabotage, you will pay a heavy price. From the whispers of the cabal to the influence of powerful figures in Abuja, Omotosho's court has become a battlefield of politics instead of law. But the irony is this: the same politics he may try to please today will abandon him tomorrow when the international community comes knocking. Nnamdi Kanu's detention has already been condemned by United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention. Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and even foreign governments have raised red flags. So Omotosho is not just handling a Nigerian case, he is handling a global human rights case. His judgment will either redeem him or destroy him. If Omotosho mishandles October 10th, the punishment will not only be political, it will be personal. His assets abroad can be frozen, his international travels can be restricted, his name can be placed beside other corrupt judges who can no longer step foot in Europe or America. And worst of all, history will remember him as the judge who had a chance to stand for truth but chose what? Corruption. They will never forget him as a judge who, instead of him to stand for truth, he decided to stand for corruption. We'll never forget it. So that's why I always say that the decision now is going to break or mar him. Yes, his decision is going to break or what, mar him, because if he doesn't make the right decisions now, it's going to haunt him for life. It's going to haunt him for life. So it's better he choose the right points now. He choose what the right track. Justice Omotosho, you are under the watch of international bodies. You're under the watch of United Nations. You're under the watch of United Nations Arbitrary Amnesty. So you should be very careful when making your decisions. The judiciary is no longer independent. My people, one of the biggest problems in Nigeria today is that the judiciary is no longer independent. Instead of standing as a pillar of democracy, it has become a tool in the hands of politicians. Judges are appointed not because of integrity, but because of loyalty. And when justice is rewarded over merit, justice suffers. That's exactly why Omotosho is now under this international spotlight. Kanu's case is now global and not local. The case is no longer a Nigerian affair. The intention of Nnamdi Kanu has been raised at the United Nations. discussed by international NGOs, and monitored by global human rights bodies. Omotosho must understand that every judgment he gives is being translated across borders. What he sees as a mere court ruling is now a global headline and is defining Nigeria's image internationally. The international community no longer sees judicial corruption as a small issue. They now classify it as a national security threat. Why? Because when judges are corrupt, they free terrorists, they jail the innocent, they destabilize society, and they make democracy impossible. Omotosho's every decision falls into this category, either protecting Nigeria's future or deepening its crisis. Now, the role of international sanctions. Sanctions are no longer empty threats. Look at other African judges who have faced international disgrace. Some had their assets abroad frozen, others were banned from international travel, and some even faced prosecution in foreign courts. Omotosho must know that the same fate can await him. Once your name enters that global blacklist, it is almost impossible to come out clean again. Justice Omotosho may think this is about him alone, but no. The consequences of his decision will follow his family. When international sanctions come, they don't just target you, they target your legacy, their children. Your children cannot school abroad, your investments are blocked, and your family name is stained forever. That is why October 10th is not just about Kanu, it's about Omotosho's own family name. Now, history will be remembered. Every judge is remembered for one landmark case. For Omotosho, that case is Kanu's trial. 50 years from now, history will not remember his minor rulings or small victories. History will ask one question. When Nnamdi Kanu's freedom was on the line, what did Omotosho do? Did he bow to politics or did he stand for justice? That is the legacy that is being written right now. Now, the burden of international watch list. Being on the international watch list is not a small matter. It means your name is flagged in embassies, your movements are tracked at airports, your transactions are watched by banks, and your decisions are achieved by intelligence agencies. Omotosho's every move is already being monitored. He cannot pretend anymore. The world is now. Finally, this is not just about international bodies. Nigerians themselves are tired. The people are crying out for justice. The Southeast is restless. The entire country is bleeding from corruption and failed leadership. The people are watching Omotosho just as much as the world is. His ruling will either calm the storm or set the nation on fire. So that is it. Because when I keep telling Justice Omotosho, you're under pressure now. I keep telling myself I will never want to be in a situation like Justice Omotosho, because in this situation everybody is expecting him to act right, right? Now the only thing he can do now is he should just try his possible best and try to stand for justice. He should not stand because of the pressure coming from the politicians. He should stand for justice, because any decision he takes now, he'll be remembered for that 50 years to come. And every decision he takes now is going to mar him or spoil his image, whereby he is going to be receiving international sanctions like frozen accounts, or they may ban him from coming to United States of America or any other country, or they may even ban his children from studying abroad. So that's why I keep saying that everything that Somotosho should do, he should make sure that he does it right, take the best decisions, and never be influenced by politicians. Because time will come, they will ask, when Nnamdi Kanu was in his trial, what did Justice James Omotosho do? Now, Justice Omotosho, it's time for you to give a good decision on 10th October 2025. When justice is applied selectively, it loses its meaning. It loses its meaning. Some politicians accused of looting billions walk free, yet activists like Nnamdi Kanu are kept behind bars without conclusion. This imbalance is why judiciary has lost public trust. Omotosho must realize that justice is not a bargaining chip. It must be fair, equal, and timely. The world already ranks Nigeria among the most corrupt judicial system. Each delay in Kanu's case only confirms that stereotype. Omotosho has a chance on October 10th to send a different message, that Nigeria still has judges who can resist pressure and deliver justice. Otherwise, Nigeria's global image sinks even deeper. Now, the economy is affected too. Investors are watching. No serious foreign investor would put money in a country where the courts cannot guarantee justice. This means Omotosho's actions don't just affect one man, they affect Nigeria's economic jobs and the entire business environment. If he fails to act justly, he contributes directly to poverty and unemployment. Now, judicial corruption fuels insecurity. Every delayed trial, every biased judgment, every bribed ruling makes Nigeria less safe. When courts when when courts fail, people turn to violence, self-defense, and vigilant justice. The crisis in the southeast today is partly because the judiciary has failed. Omotosho's Omotosho's ruling could either heal wounds or deepen what conflict. Nnamdi Kanu's case is not just a Nigerian matter; it is borne by international treaties that Nigeria has signed, including the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and the UN Convention Against Arbitrary Detention. Omotosho must remember that international law supersedes political orders when fundamental rights are at stake. Now, unlike the past, Nigerians now have social media. Every decision, every postponement, every suspicious ruling is instantly broadcast to millions on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and TikTok. Omotosho's courtroom is no longer a private space, it is a global stage. And once the people judge you in the court of a public opinion, there is no appeal. International precedents exist. Other judges in Africa have been held accountable before, from Kenya to South Africa. There are precedents where corrupt judges were removed or sanctioned internationally. Omotosho must know he is not untouchable. The same can happen to him if he fails to act with integrity. Time is running out. The world is no longer patient. Human rights groups are preparing reports, foreign parliaments are holding hearings, and diaspora communities are lobbying their governments. October 10th is not just a date, it is a deadline. And after that deadline, the calls for sanctions may become what? Unstoppable. The spirit of justice versus fear of power. In the end, Omotosho must choose. Does he deserve justice or does he serve power? Many judges before him have bowed to fear and ended in disgrace, but the rare few, stood firm and became legends. October 10th gives him the chance to decide which side of history will he stand on. Now, October 10th is going to give him the chance to decide which side of history is he really going to stand in. Is he going to stand with the corrupt politicians or is he going to stand for justice? That is it. So guys, and please don't forget that normally we in this channel we normally use these platforms to agitate for the release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. So please do well to type in the comment section free Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And also please, if you're coming across this my channel for the first time, please don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to be getting all the latest news in this channel by clicking the all notification button. So guys, let's go on. Let's dive deep into what we have. Now, judicial independence is dying. Every time a judge bows to political influence, Nigeria loses one more piece of its judicial independence. Omotosho's ruling are already being scrutinized as politically motivated. If he doesn't reverse course, he becomes another example of how the Nigeria bench is no longer free, but chained to the whims of the powerful. The international diaspora lobby is strong. Nigerians abroad, especially Igbos, are lobbying foreign governments, lawmakers, and human rights groups daily. Their voices are getting louder in Washington, London, Brussels, and Ottawa. Omotosho may ignore the crisis at home. The Omotosho may ignore the cries at home, but he cannot silence the diaspora who are building cases against corrupt judges internationally. Whatever Omotosho rules in Kanu's case will become precedent for how other political and activists' cases are handled in Nigeria. If he allows manipulation and endless delay, then every other activist is doomed to the same fate. But if he sets a bold example, it could spark judicial reforms nationwide. Now, Nigeria is already under watch by FAT and UN, which is the Financial Action Task Force, which is FAT, Financial Action Task Force, and the United Nations constantly monitor corruption, money laundering, and abuse of office. Once judicial corruption is tied to financial crimes, sanctions can spread from travel bans to economic restrictions. Omotosho's name may end up directly on those reports if he mishandles the case. Now, youths are losing hope in the system. Over 70% of Nigeria's population are youth, and they are watching closely. When young people see that the court can't deliver justice, they lose faith in the entire country. That hopelessness fuels what migration, which is Japa, crime and agitation. Omotosho's ruling could either restore or destroy faith in Nigeria's future. Now, selective silence of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, which should guide the lower courts, has kept silent on glaring abuses in this case. This silence has left judge like Omotosho exposed. If he joins in this silence by not acting boldly, history will lump him together with those who enabled what injustice. Now, international sanctions don't just target you. When sanctions come, they don't stop with one person. They extend to family members, business associates, and even friends. If Omotosho mishandles this case, it won't just be him. His children abroad, his investments, and even relatives may feel the heat of blocked accounts and travel bans. Kanu's detention is legally baseless. Let's not forget, multiple Nigerian courts, including the appeal court, have declared Kanu's detention unlawful, yet Omotosho continues to play along with the game of postponement. That contradiction is why international bodies are cycling, because Nigeria itself has admitted the detention is illegal, yet still keeps him. The people have long memories. Even if Omotosho escapes sanctions now, Nigerians don't forget. His name generations will remember what he has done, if he really, if he really acted well or not. Generations is actually going to remember everything that he did. So that's why I keep telling Jesse Omotosho, you need to really act well. You need to act well. So guys, let's go on. Let's go on. Every time a judge bows to political influence, Nigeria loses one more piece of its judicial independence. Omotosho's ruling are already being scrutinized as politically motivated. If it doesn't reverse course, it becomes another example of how the Nigerian bench is no longer free, but chained to the whims of the powerful. Now, Nigerians abroad, especially Igbos, are lobbying foreign governments, lawmakers, and human rights groups daily. Their voices are getting louder in Washington, London, and Brussels, and Ottawa. Omotosho may ignore the crisis at home, but he cannot silence the diaspora who are building cases against corrupt judges internationally. Whatever Omotosho rules in Kanu's case will become precedent for how other political and activist cases are being handled in Nigeria. If he allows manipulation and endless delay, then every other activist is doomed to the same fate. But if it sets a bold example, it could spark judicial reforms nationwide. Now, Nigeria is already under what? Is already under watch by FAT and UN, which is the Financial Action Task Force, and the United Nations constantly monitor corruption, money laundering, and abuse of office. Once judicial corruption is tied to financial crimes, sanctions can spread from travel bans to economic what restrictions to economic restrictions. Omotosho's name may end up directly on this report if he mishandles the case. Over 70% of Nigeria's population are youth, and they are watching closely. When young people see that the courts can't deliver justice, they lose faith in the entire country. That hopelessness fuels migration, crime, and agitation. Omotosho's ruling could either restore or destroy faith in Nigeria's future. The Supreme Court, which should guide the lower courts, has kept silent on glaring abuses in this case. This silence has left judges like Omotosho exposed. If he joins in this silence by not acting boldly, history will lump him together with those who enabled injustice. Now, when sanctions come, they don't stop with one person. They extend to family members, business associates, and even friends. If Omotosho mishandles this case, it won't just be him. His children abroad, his investments, and even relatives may feel the heat of blocked accounts and travel bans. Let's not forget, multiple Nigerian courts, including the appeal court, have declared Kanu's detention unlawful. Yet Omotosho continues to play along with the game of postponement. That contradiction is why international bodies are cycling, because Nigeria itself has admitted the detention is illegal, yet still keeps him. Even if Omotosho escapes sanctions now, Nigerians don't forget. His name will forever be tied to the Nnamdi Kanu trial. Generations remember whether he stood with justice or with oppression. History has no eraser, and October 10th is when his legacy is sealed. Now, every time justice is denied, separatist movements grow stronger. Injustice gives them fuel, gives them recruits, gives them justification. By denying fair trial to Kanu, Omotosho is unintentionally strengthening the very cause he's supposed to weaken. Justice could calm the fire, injustice, will spread it. In the past, judges could hide in the shadows, issue rulings, and the people would not know their names. Not anymore. Social media exposes them, citizens, journalists profile them, and international bodies track them. Omotosho is not invisible. He's under a global microscope. Now, other judges are watching. How Omotosho handles this case will set the tone for his colleagues. If he stands firm, other judges may gather courage to do the same. But if he caves into pressure, others will take it as a signal that corruption and delay are the only way to survive the ripple effects. The only way to survive. The ripple effect will spread through Nigerians for judiciary. Now, justice is the last line of democracy. Legislators are compromised, politicians are compromised. If judges are also compromised, then democracy collapses. Judiciary is not the last shield of the common man. Omotosho's ruling on October 10th will show whether Nigeria still has that shield or whether it has finally, been broken. Now, like I always say, so guys, if you know you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, turn on the notification button to be getting all the latest news in this channel. Don't forget that we use this platform to agitate for the release of Nnamdi Kanu and to tell the federal government and the whole wide world that this man is innocent and he needs to be released. So please do what step in the comment section, free Nnamdi Kanu, and also drop your own points and comments below, because we will be taking a look at your answers and your questions one by one. I will be talking about it because I really want this live section to be an interactive one. Now, judicial corruption hurts foreign investment. No investor wants to bring billions into a country where judges sell verdicts to the highest bidder. If Omotosho continues to show weakness in Kanu's case, international investors will see Nigeria as unsafe for business, because if the courts can't be trusted, contracts can't be enforced. Now, don't forget, the ECOWAS Court of Justice has already ruled against Nigeria in similar detention case. If Omotosho ignores those precedents, he's not just defying Nigerian law, but also regional law. That places Nigeria and him personal in direct confrontation with West African justice system. The ICC angle, the International Criminal Court, may not move immediately, but once judicial officers are linked to aiding unlawful detention or human rights abuses, they can be named as enablers. Omotosho risks being on that list if he continues to drag Kanu's case without justice. The global media spotlight, CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, and even smaller human rights platforms are tracking Kanu's detention. Once they start naming judges, reputations will be destroyed worldwide. Omotosho risks becoming the face of judicial corruption on global television. Every Nigerian judge Every Nigerian judge swears an oath to uphold justice without fear or favor by delaying justice for Kanu. Omotosho is breaking his sworn oath, which is not just a legal crime, but a moral and spiritual violation. That broken oath could haunt him beyond the courtroom. Now, international asset tracking. Agencies like Global Witness and Transparency International now track judges' hidden assets. If Omotosho has accepted bribes or accumulated wealth through shady deals, this case could open the door for full investigation into his finance. Sanctions could extend to freezing his bank accounts worldwide. Every postponement is not just a delay, it is persecution. Each day Kanu spends unlawful in detention is an extra punishment without conviction that makes Omotosho not a neutral arbitrator, but an active participant in persecution. Now, erosion of Igbo confidence in Nigeria. The South is already losing faith in Nigeria. Each delay and injustice in Kanu's trial deepens that mistrust. Omotosho's actions are directly fueling the argument that the Igbo can never get justice in Nigeria and that Biafra is the only option. The generational stain of injustice. History shows that judges who upheld injustice are remembered with shame, while those who stood for truth are honored forever. Omotosho must ask himself, does he want his grandchildren to bear a name linked with corruption and injustice? Technology has removed secrecy. In the past, corruption rulings could be hidden in law books, but now every document, every court transcript, every adjournment is uploaded, shared, and archived online. Omotosho's ruling will be analyzed for decades to come. There is no hiding place. Human rights groups will escalate. Groups like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and Reprieve are gathering evidence. Once Omotosho crosses the red line, they will escalate to lobbying government directly for sanctions. Nigeria may protect him internally, but globally, he will be a marked man. Religious and moral responsibility. Nigeria is a deeply religious country. Judges like Omotosho often sit in the front pews of churches and mosques. But how will he explain to God that he denied justice to an innocent man for political convenience? Earthly protection won't save him from divine judgment. The people court of history. Even if Omotosho escapes sanctions, even if Nigeria protects him, there is one court he cannot escape, the court of history. That court never adjourns, it never delays, and it never forgets. And his actions in Kanu's case will be written forever. Judges abroad have fallen. From Kenya to South Africa, judges have lost their seats, been jailed, or even sanctioned internationally for enabling corruption. Omotosho should not think Nigeria is immune. The international community has started looking at Nigerian judges one by one, a peaceful path or a violent future. The way Kanu's case is handled could determine whether Nigeria finds a peaceful resolution or falls into more chaos. Omotosho holds the key role. Justice could open dialogue and peace. Injustice could close the door and unleash what? Unrest. That is it. That is one thing they don't know. So I keep telling Justice Omotosho, the time is now. 10th October should be a day whereby you stand for justice and not for what? The politicians. Not for the politicians. So legal precedents ignored. Omotosho risks undermining decades of Nigeria jurisprudence. Courts have repeatedly ruled against unlawful detention, yet these precedents are being ignored. Disregarding precedents weakens the entire legal system and makes international observers question Nigeria's commitment to rule of law. Political agendas are transparent. Political interference is no secret. Every adjournment and delay in Kanu's case has been tied to government pressure. Omotosho must realize that the world sees these moves as orchestrated and not random. Transparency may work against corruption, but secrecy never hides it anymore. Regional stability at stake. The Southeast unrest is fueled by perceived injustice in Kanu's detention. Every misstep by Omotosho risks regional instability, protests, and even cross-border tension. International observers already flagged this as security risk. The role of social media in evidence, videos, audio recordings, and leaked court transcripts circulate instantly online. Social media ensures that every judge decision is decided publicly. Omotosho's every ruling is being archived, analyzed, and critical globally in real time. Now, sanctions impact career beyond retirement. Even after retirement, judges who are sanctioned cannot hold advisory or academic positions abroad. If Omotosho mishandles the case, he risks losing post-retirement opportunities, international respect, and invitations to conferences or legal forums. Unlawful detention invites international pressure. Kanu has already been declared unlawfully detained by some judicial bodies. Continuing to detain him or delay his trial amplifies pressure on Nigeria from the UN, EU, and other international institutions. Public trust is eroding faster. Every Nigerian who sees repeated adjournments and bias loses faith. Public perception now defines legitimacy. Omotosho's credibility is measured not just by law but by how the people see him, and the perception shapes history. The case is symbolic. Kanu's trial is symbolic for every activist, every journalist, every citizen fighting for rights in Nigeria. How Omotosho rules will signal whether activism is punished or protected. This is why the stakes are higher than just one case. The risk of political retribution. If Omotosho sides with politics, he may temporarily protect powerful figures, but political ties change. Those he helps today may abandon him tomorrow when the international community pressures them. His protection is temporal, his exposure is what permanent. Now, international bodies track court record. Organizations like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and even foreign embassies maintain intensive case file. Every adjournment ruling or biased judge in Kanu's case is logged. Omotosho is being recorded as he acts. Nothing escapes was scrutiny. The risk of personal sanctions beyond reputation damage. Personal sanctions can freeze bank accounts, restrict travel, and prevent access to international property. Omotosho is walking a fine line. One misstep and it could be personal, not just professional. Historical lessons are clear. Judges who enabled political oppression in Africa have long been remembered with shame. Their names are cited in legal textbooks as cautionary tales. Omotosho has a chance to write a different story, one that justice will remember, not condemnation. The court cannot be a political playground. Every court in Nigeria is supposed to be neutral. Turning it into a political tool damages the very foundation of law. Omotosho's courtroom must stand as a bastion of fairness, or the judiciary as a whole collapses in credibility. The diaspora will mobilize. Nigerians abroad are not silent. They organize protests, lobby government, and demand accountability. Omotosho's decisions affect how these communities perceive Nigeria and how strongly they push for international action. Justice is a test of character. At the end of the day, judges are defined by their character. October 10th is not just about a verdict, it is a test of courage, integrity, and legacy. Omotosho's choice will show whether he stands with justice or bows with corruption. So just like I always say, guys, if you know you're actually coming across this channel for the first time, please do what, to click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to be getting all the latest news in this channel, especially when we drop a new video. So guys, and also we use this channel, to agitate for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. So please do what, type in the comment section, free Nnamdi Kanu. So guys, let's move on. Political pressure is transparent. Every adjournment and delay in Kanu's case shows clear signs of political interference. The world can see it. And social media ensures nothing is hidden. Omotosho must know that bowing to pressure will not protect him. It will just expose him. Court delays fuel public unrest. Delays are not just procedural, they are dangerous. Each postponed hearing increases tensions in the Southeast and among activists nationwide. The longer the delay, the higher the risk of protest, violence, on unrest. Omotosho's decisions have real-world consequences. International observers are patient no more. The United Nations, Amnesty International, and other NGOs have been monitoring this case for years. The patience is running out. October 10th is a deadline, not just a name, but in reality. Missteps now could trigger immediate sanctions or investigation. So guys, please do to type your comments in the comment section and tell me what you guys really think about this. And also, guys, I want you guys to watch the video and hear what the lawyer of Nnamdi Kanu have to say. And
so today I'm wearing two hats. I'm speaking on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm also speaking on my own behalf. My name is Aloy Ejimako. I'm the special counsel to Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra. And I'm speaking to you from a location in Nigeria. The man, Nnamdi Kanu, is well known. He's everywhere. He's on Wikipedia. He's an internationally acclaimed freedom fighter. But there's just a few things I need to tell you about him. What brought him to limelight was the formation of the indigenous people of Biafra in the United Kingdom in 2012. Simultaneously, he also founded Radio Biafra. And these two organizations were aimed at one thing: liberation for the people of Biafra, or restoration of the former Republic of Biafra that went defunct in 1970. The right to self-determination is a right that is guaranteed internationally, domestically, and continentally. It's within the black letters of Nigerian law at Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The right to self-determination is guaranteed. So the formation of IPOB did not break any law. Not laws of the United Kingdom, not international law, not Nigerian law. But guess what? When Nnamdi Kanu, who was born in Nigeria, but who acquired British citizenship later on, came to Nigeria in October 2015, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, which had come to power in May, decided to arrest him. He was not arrested between 2012 and 2015 because the government of the day at that time understood that self-determination is not a crime. But the government that came into power in 2015 in May decided that self-determination is going to be treated as a criminal activity. So he was arrested in Lagos. He was charged for treason, also for insulting the president and illegal importation of radio equipment. 3 charges. The treason one, they split it into 2, treason by himself and treason by conspiracy. This thing went on from 2015 until April 2017, when he was eventually granted bail. So he was detained for nearly 18 months. After granting him bail, he returned to his ancestral home in the southeastern part of Nigeria, and he was enjoying his bail when suddenly, between 10 September and 14 September 2017, the Nigerian army without any justification whatsoever, levied lethal, massive military operations against Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's ancestral home. That day, he was sitting at home with so many people, his family members, including his two elderly parents. The attack was lightning, it was a bleakridge, it was massive, and it was not the type of an attack you will expect a national military force to levy on a civilian location. But they did. At the end of the day, 28 people lost their lives. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu sustained injuries. His parents sustained injuries as well. But somehow, by the grace of God, they all managed to escape. From there, the rest is history. And because there was a national and international manhunt for him by the security forces, which rules of engagement was to shoot, not to maim. If you see Nnamdi Kanu, if you encounter him anywhere, shoot not to maim. Not to maim, but shoot to kill. That's what they went there to do on 10 September, but they didn't succeed. But it went on. They went on in a manhunt. So Nnamdi Kanu was forced to flee the municipal boundaries of Nigeria in search of safe haven overseas. Eventually, in May 2021, he settled in Kenya. He entered Nairobi and settled in Kenya somewhere. He never knew that Nigerian security forces, the international branch of it, were laying in wait for him. They laid an ambush for him. So on 19th June 2021, he drove himself to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on a personal errand. As soon as he drove into the parking lot and alighted from his vehicle, several well-armed security men suspected to be of a mixture of Nigerian and Kenyan security forces swooped on him, grabbed him, abducted him, and put him forcibly in a vehicle and drove away. Well, they didn't take him to the police station. They didn't take him to immigration because he was a foreigner. He should have been taken to immigration. They didn't take him to any official law enforcement facility. They took him to a secret location in Nairobi, a non-official secret location. So in effect, they disappeared him. And they kept him at that secret location for a whole 8 days. And those 8 days he endured horrendous torture. All these are matters of record between the various tribunals and courts before whom this matter has been brought. I cannot begin to give you all the details. Horrendous torture in violation of basic human rights, in violation of the laws of Kenya, Nigeria, and the international community. When Nnamdi Kanu was abducted on 19th June 2021, the proper thing that should have been done is to take him to a police station, from there to a court. And then if you wanted him back in Nigeria, you subject him to what is called extradition proceedings. This is a basic tenet of the law that you see in the laws of any nation. Kenya has an extradition act to which Mazen Nnamdi Kanu should have been subjected. But guess what? They didn't do that. They rather disappeared him for 8 days, tortured him to their heart's content. And on 27th June, they secretly brought him out from this location and took him through the back doors, evading Kenyan immigration, direct to the tarmac of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi, where a private plane was waiting. They bundled him into the plane, chained him to the chair, and everything. He endured 5-6 hours flight from Nairobi to Kenya in the most excruciating circumstances. They arrived in Nigeria late in the evening and the plane flew back to Nairobi. They took him to the headquarters of the National Intelligence Agency in Abuja, where he spent the first night with all the lights left on to assure his maximum discomfort. The following day, they transferred him to the headquarters of Directorate of State Security in Abuja. And on the third day, they brought him before the Federal High Court in Abuja. The Federal High Court was well aware that Nnamdi Kanu has counsel of record. It was an open case, it wasn't a new case, a pre-existing case. But the Federal High Court decided to conduct the arraignment in violation of his constitutional right to counsel, and that arraignment led to the indefinite detention with which we are struggling today. Anyways, taking you back a few steps, the little military invasion of 2017 was not unrequited, judicially speaking. I took the matter before two tribunals, or a tribunal and a court. First, I took it to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which rendered a decision in March 2018 condemning the action and calling it a violation of the African Charter. And they wrote a president to the President of Nigeria, they wrote a letter to the President of Nigeria requesting him or directing him. They used diplomatic language, but the decision was there that what you did is wrong, so you need to roll it back. You need to reverse everything you have done, which includes declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization and hounding their members as criminals. The African Commission held that what Nigerian government was doing was persecution, not prosecution. But the IPOB and its members simply possess an inconvenient political opinion which the Nigerian government was seeking to suppress by means of punishment of some sort. And they asked or directed Nigerian government to reverse itself. Nigerian government never did. Rather, it escalated. Well, subsequently, I went to a local court, a high court in Abia State in eastern Nigeria. I sued the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Nigerian Army, and other parties who were Confederates in that attack of September 2017. And in January 2022, fortunately for us, we won. The High Court made an order. The High Court reached a judgment that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu in September 2017 was a flagrant violation of his constitutional right to life and constitutional right to his privacy. And the court proceeded to make an order ordering the federal government of Nigeria, or Federal Republic of Nigeria, to pay him a compensation of 1 billion Nigerian naira, which is over $1 million US. The court also ordered the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the President of Nigeria to issue a public apology to be published in 3 national Nigerian newspapers to Nnamdi Kanu. None of this has happened. So we kept that aside. So when they brought Nnamdi Kanu forcibly from Kenya without extradition proceedings, I characterized it an act of extraordinary rendition. Initially, there was a misunderstanding, a broad, widespread misunderstanding by vast majorities of Nigerians who were mouthing the cliche, Nnamdi Kanu extradited from Kenya. No, that was wrong. He wasn't. I told people he wasn't. He was extraordinarily renditioned or rendered, and that is against international law, Kenyan law, and laws of the Federation of Nigeria. So while his criminal trial was making its way slowly at Abuja, with all the several amendments the government was bringing, they walked away from treasonable felony, insulting the president, importation of radio equipment, and bam, to terrorism. That's how it happened. And they did this 7 times. 7 amendments. if Nnamdi Kanu was guilty, why is it taking so long to bring him to trial between 2015 and today? That is 8 years. So what he's undergoing is not really a judicial trial. It's a trial by ordeal, trial by fire, imprisonment before conviction. They just want to get as many years of jail time out of him as possible, because they know that with the evidence available, conviction will be impossible. And that was made worse by the extraordinary rendition, which I took also as a civil violation to a federal high court in Nigeria. And in October 2022, the federal high court came down with a judgment that extraordinary rendition was a violation of his constitutional rights, his fundamental rights, and they awarded him 500 million Nigerian naira. That's about $800,000. So all around, everywhere that this matter has gone to, including in July 2022, before the Human Rights Council at the United Nations, the Human Rights Council, United Nations, came down with an opinion that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya and that brought him to Nigeria is a very grave violation of international law. And they directed that he should be released unconditionally. And of course, the Court of Appeal in Nigeria did come down with a similar judgment in same October 2022, discharging Nnamdi Kanu of all charges and bearing any further trial of his person in any court in Nigeria as a consequence, as a direct consequence of the extraordinary rendition. So what more can you ask for a man to deserve his freedom? How many have I counted? United Nations, which in this case should be considered a world court. Then you have the Nigerian Court of Appeal, which is the second highest court in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Then you have the Federal High Court, which is the court of first instance at the federal level. And of course, you have the State High Court that awarded him 1 billion Nigerian naira. So between 2015 and today, 8 years and running, Nnamdi Kanu has snagged 4 major victories against the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with Federal Republic of Nigeria winning nothing. What more do you need as stark evidence, affirmative evidence that what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is an act of persecution, not prosecution? It's time to end it. On his behalf, I will ask all men and women of goodwill everywhere in the world to speak up. There was this saying about Jews. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing because you're a trade unionist. Then when they came for the trade unionist, you say, well, I'm a scientist. You said nothing. They took the Jew, they took the trade unionist. And then when they came for the scientists, nobody spoke for you. Nnamdi Kanu is a poster boy for all the injustices that a great race, the Igbo people, and their cousins in the former eastern Nigeria have been subjected to since the founding of Nigeria. These injustices became more public because since 2015 they have been escalated. So how do you fight back? You fight back by telling the system, I want out. I want my own country is not a crime. It does not require a bullet. It doesn't require muscular military law enforcement. What it requires is sitting across the table and talking about it. A lot of nations have been founded on referendum. That's what Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra were asking for. That led to all this conundrum, to all this saga.
When the president calmed down, the reason Nnamdi Kanu have a discussion with him. You have been having a discussion with bandits and the so-called repentant Boko Haram. Tell me the offense of Nnamdi Kanu, because he's agitating for self-determination, which is his own constitutional fundamental rights granted to him by the Constitution and the law.
Well, the government's anger is not because of the agitation, because they know that everyone has a right to agitate. But they said the way he was going about it, like and then people were being incited. Well, that's even not what I'm
what of the one the wife of the president incited people during the election? The wife of the president, he incited people that Igbo should go. What of the one Oba of Lagos said that Igbo should go and fall into lagoon? What of those that came out and said that Igbos will not vote? If you are not voting for APC, you will not vote. What happened to them? Has anybody been arrested? That Nnamdi Kanu said something, then you now term that thing he said as is a terrorist, is a crime of terrorism. You charge him for terrorism. His own lawful organization that is registered in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe and Asia, and you now came to Nigeria, you term it a terrorist organization. Now you are now saying that now that IPOB is being recognized in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe. So you are now saying that America, France, Germany, they are recognizing a terrorist organization because you don't want anybody to agitate. You want to suppress anybody. If you talk, kill him, suppress him, jail him. In a country that is predicated on constitutional governance, it cannot work like that.
Okay, let's get back to the ministerial nomination of Bianca Ojukwu, because you said he took away one from Anambra and brought in another. But remember that the president took away the minister based on the KPI results that came out, which he was not even the one, that did the evaluation. It was the result given to him with which he did that, meaning that if actually the minister had performed, above board in the KPI, they wouldn't have had any reason to remove her rather.
Now, still on that ministerial list, we have 48 of them, am I right? And we have 36 states in this country, including FCT 37. So, apart from Southeast, that have only 5, every other region have more than 6, apart from Southeast. Now, check since 1999, we have been having series of presidents. Let's use what is going on now. The president is from where? Vice is from where? Speaker is from where? Senate President is from where? CJN is from where? Court of Appeal President is from where? National Industrial Court President is from where? Chief Judge of Federal High Court is from where? And they are saying that the people of Southeast belongs to this country.
The chief of
are you sure you're not? I mean, it's just like what I said too. I mean, isn't it time we started to be less sentimental about this diversity?
We have to apply it now. We are saying that the only people that are qualified to hold all this position, nobody from South is qualified. On what basis?
Are you sure that
but the chief of naval staff is from the Southeast?
Huh?
The chief of naval staff?
From where? I'm talking about the key position.
So
number 1 person, number 2 person, number 3 person, number 4 person, number 5 person. The key position, we have 3 arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the parliament. You can never see anybody from Southeast there. Now, the point we are talking about is that I'm not even talking about, I'm in court about lopsided appointments.
Okay.
I can avail that my process because I did an intensive research in that process. File it, asking court to view whether this particular appointment, whether this particular governance is in line with Federal Character Establishment Act, an act of National Assembly that said that you should carry everybody along. Section 14 of the Constitution also said that you should carry everybody along. And they are not doing all these things. You are telling me that, yes, now that you have removed Kennedy Handele and they are now brought in Bianca Ojukwu, that the people of Southeast will jubilate. Are you talking to idiots? Look at the people that you are talking about. Check, let me start with the source. In football, the people that have made Nigeria proud are the people of Southeast. In commerce, in aviation industry, name it, in academics. They are from people of Southeast. But when it comes to power, they are not qualified. And we want them to be happy. Listen, let me tell you, like today that is Monday, go to Southeast. And my annoyance is that these things are avoidable for Christ's sake. They won at Nnamdi. The reason Nnamdi Kanu, let us start addressing this issue. This early morning, somebody sent me a clip, something they posted, that they said from, I think they said next week, the next 2 weeks, that there will be nothing like federal courts in the whole of Southeast. What do I mean by federal court? Federal court, National Industrial Court is a federal court. Federal High Court is a federal court. Court of Appeal is a federal court. Now, the judges that are there, most of them are not Igbos. Majority of them are not Igbos. How should you risk somebody to go and preside in the Court of Appeal over the judicial division, Oka judicial division, Enugu judicial division? How can you appoint somebody to go and preside in Federal High Court in the Southeast, National Industrial Court in the Southeast? And you are not even thinking about all this. And the judges are not even thinking about, So the point we are talking about is that when there is a problem, look for a solution. Personally, somebody like us, we're not even, I'm defending Nnamdi Kanu, one of his lawyers. So when they say so you people are not doing what you're supposed to do, the person that is calling you, don't even know him. He's using a hidden number to call you. You don't even know what they're talking about court. The only thing that you went to court and you were unable to bring Nnamdi Kanu out. They're not even safe.
Okay, Maxwell, let me ask you this, because from what you're saying, I've also heard IPOB many times deny, allegations of being involved in some of the killings that happen in the Southeast and some of the, the ills that we see in the society. Even the sit-at-home in question, IPOB has also claimed that he has not asked anybody to sit at home. I don't know, get my point. So the point I'm making is that from what you're saying, it would look as if what you're actually trying to say is that it's because Nnamdi is being held, that is why, the ills in the society in the Southeast has escalated. Does it have anything to do with him? That is what you're saying?
You know why? Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB is his initiative. He established it, he organized it. Now, when you now kidnapped him or abducted him, and unlawfully, because the Supreme Court have said that he was unlawfully brought into this country, and you kept him incommunicado, everybody on his own. This one we kill, you said at IPOB. This one we maim, you said at IPOB. Everybody on his own. That's why I asked you the question, who is IPOB? The IPOB is Nnamdi Kanu. So if Nnamdi Kanu is out, you will know who is who. Simon Ekpa will talk his own, Emma Powerful will talk his own, this one will talk his own, this one. Who is IPOB? That you are even talking. Simon Ekpa is in Finland. Emma Powerful, I don't know where he's operating from. Another person is operating from somewhere. Issuing threats. Just like the one somebody told me. I don't even know where that one is coming from. So the easiest way to do is the one that you know. Nnamdi Kanu. Then tell Attorney General, as he discontinue the charges against the president of Mieti Allah Kato, discontinue that of Showore, they are all terrorism. Tell them to discontinue that of Nnamdi Kanu and allow Nnamdi Kanu to agitate. It is his right. I told you the other day.
You see, that's where the problem is, really. The guarantee, that there will not be problems, even if Nnamdi Kanu is, because you're saying allow him to agitate, and he goes about it the way he used to, like, the government have actually feared. That may also create more problems, don't you think?
Let me tell you, there are some things that you asked me the other day whether they are talking about condition giving Nnamdi Kanu. I told you one question. I say, if you give Nnamdi Kanu condition that he feel after meeting up that condition, he will still live like a human being, so be it. But when you give him condition and you are removing that made him a human being, he will tell you no. What is that made you a human being? That thing that makes you a human being is your ability to exercise your fundamental rights. And when somebody said, now I'm going to employ you here, I will be paying you $500,000 every month, but you will not talk, you will not move out, you say, do away with your job. When somebody said, I'm going to release you, but I'll cut one of their hands, say no. The agitation for self-determination is a fundamental right. And if you people fail to understand it, I can agitate that I need the Republic of Maxwell. It is my right. Anybody can agitate. I don't even need crowd to follow me. It is when you now feel that you have gotten the necessary need the necessary qualities, then so be it. It is now left for the president, who believe in democracy, who believe in government of the people by the people, to apply an initiative. What is the initiative? Release the person, start addressing all those issues that gave rise to this agitation. It has been there. Uwazirike was agitating during Obasanjo. A lot of people were agitating. So now that you have arrested, you come down Uwazirike that time, Nnamdi Kanu came up. Now that you have arrested Nnamdi Kanu, someone is there. I think this data from Ned Nwoko was telling you that even if you arrest Simon Ekpa today, another Simon Ekpa will come out. So the issue there is that address all those issues.
Right. So for you, it's for you, it's not about ministerial appointment.
No. That one.
Okay,
that is the complete distraction. That
shouldn't even come in.
Okay. After turning in now, let Bianca come and address the Igbos in Enugu.
All right.
So guys, I'm sure you guys have listened to what the lawyer of Nnamdi Kanu said, right? So this is what I have to tell Justice James Omotosho, because 10th October 2025 is a day we are going to decide if Justice Omotosho is actually going to work in the favor of the politicians or stand for justice. So he should not forget that any decision he makes on the 10th October 2025 is going to determine the particular person he is. And just like everybody has been saying, that the world is watching. Yes, the human rights is watching. Everybody is watching globally, and they're ready for him to, they're waiting for him to take decisions. And if he doesn't take good decision, it's going to determine the kind of person that he is. So guys, he's going to James Omotosho, if he gives the good judgment, we are going to now recognize him as a good judge. But if he gives a bad judgment, then the whole world is watching, because United Nations may give him sanctions if he doesn't give a good judgment. So just like I always say, I'm only going to advise Justice James Omotosho that he should give the right judgment. So he should give the right judgment to avoid sanctions. And how he's going to wash off his hands from all these things, he should avoid postponement. Yes, avoid postponement and avoid political interferences. He should stand on his ground and give his judgment. So guys, that's what we have for today. Let me know your thoughts below. And also, if you know you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, like and share, and turn on the notification bell to be getting all the latest news in this channel, especially when we drop anything across. So please do well, to subscribe to this channel. Like I always say, it won't cost you anything much just to subscribe to this channel. So guys, don't forget that we use this platform to agitate for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. So please do well to type in the comment section, free Nnamdi Kanu. So guys, and also he'll be coming to court on the 10th October 2025, and I'll be giving you guys latest updates concerning Nnamdi Kanu, even when he's going to be coming to court and everything concerning him. So guys, thanks for watching, and see you guys again in my next live section.